Welcome to Panels and Borders. I'm Dominic. So in this car rant video, I want to talk about bland looking book covers. When I was in my local bookstore a little while ago, and I picked up a copy of Stephen King's It. And there's a new copy out because of the movie and stuff, so they kind of have a new edition, but just the cover of the book, I thought, oh man, what a bland cover. And just lazy book, like, cover design for it. It's very plain, and nothing like the old book cover to Stephen King's It. I know this is a lot. Now this is actually kind of a nitpick I have when I pick up books. I like to get the covers that are painted. Now I know that the old saying goes, you can't judge a book by its cover, but still that saying is no excuse to have a bland, crappy cover to your book. Now the only saving thing about it is it's such a well-known horror novel, I don't think that would affect it, but if given a choice, if it had the old painted cover that the book had in the past compared to the new cover, I would guess most people would choose between the copy that had the nice painted cover over the cover that the book has now. And another book series that kind of did the same thing. I had this book series where I bought the Trilogy, but I haven't read it yet. It was a science fiction series that was recommended to me by a coworker. And I think it was called the Mars Trilogy, and it's 3 books. And so the first book, it's Red Mars, I believe, Red Mars, Green Mars, Blue Mars. Those are the 3 books. So I went to my local bookstore and they had them, all 3. Now 2 of the books I was able to pick up that had the old original covers, I think, that were painted, and very beautifully painted covers. But one of them didn't. It had like it was a different publisher, and it had like a newer cover, but just same thing, lazy, bland looking cover. And I'm thinking, like, almost to the point where I was like, I almost don't want to buy this. I almost want to hold out until I can find a cover that looks like the other 2 that are nice and painted with this nice, really cool science fiction scene on it. But yeah, that always annoys me when I see that, when publishers go and they design a new cover for a book, but the cover is just bland. They always take the bland route. They never do commission like a new piece of artwork for it, like a new, like, even like nice digital painting or traditional painting. It's usually some Photoshop crap, something that is totally bland. It just doesn't draw you to the book at all. I really can't stand that. That's like a nitpick I have with picking up books. I always try to find the more of the classic covers, and I kind of noticed that I did that with actually another series of books I have, but I haven't actually read them. Well, I've read the first one, but is the original Thrawn trilogy that Timothy Zahn wrote back in the early 90s. I believe it was one of the first series of novels to come out after Return of the Jedi had left theaters and stuff, when Lucasfilm was kind of like reintroducing Star Wars to the public, and the series of books came out, the Thrawn trilogy. Well, I picked up the first part of that trilogy at a garage sale, like years ago, like probably 10 years ago, and or more than 10 years ago, probably closer to like 14 or 15 years ago. I bought it and read it, but I never got the other 2 in the series. So recently they re-released them, and but they made new covers, and like, they're not bad covers, but again, they're kind of like lazy compared to the old covers. Like, the old covers were really well painted science fiction scenes and really sold the book. Like, it just gave the book, I think, like, the painted covers like that give the book a more epic feel, like, because that's the first thing people are going to see is your book cover. That's what is going to, you know, initially get them, tweak their interest to pick up your book. That's the first chance you got to grab their attention. So why not put your best foot forward and have like a really nice illustrated cover instead of something that is completely bland and something that you don't want to pick up. So I saw they've re-released the Thrawn trilogy, but I didn't like the covers. So I actually, but I wanted to get the whole trilogy, so I went out actually to a few used bookstores and hunted down used copies of the Thrawn trilogy just so I could have the old painted covers. Now I know that doesn't change the content of the book at all, like doesn't affect anything, but me it's just like a personal nitpick that I have. Now I have bought books that do have like more bland covers, just because I couldn't find another copy of it or another version of the book and I really wanted to read it. Another book that was re-released, a new edition of it, same thing, they went with a very bland cover, and where the original cover was awesome. And that is Whitley Strieber's Communion. I don't know if anyone watching this channel has read that book, but I've read the book. I found the book used, and well, no, it's kind of like the same case as the Star Wars ones. They had a copy of it on Amazon, but it was a very like plain cover. It was just like a photograph someone had taken with, and then they had photoshopped. It looked like maybe they had photoshopped like a UFO up in the sky or something like that, or they had taken an old picture of a UFO sighting or something, and then use that as the cover. But now the original cover to Communion is an awesome painting, and of one of those gray aliens, of the description that Whitley Strieber gives to the visitors, and it's your classic gray alien with the big black bug eyes and stuff like that, and it's staring at you, staring right through you ominously on this nice painted book cover. So same thing, and that to me, it's just the design of the book cover is way superior to the new book cover, which just looks like a photograph slapped on there, like no effort put into it at all to make the book look presentable or nice in any way, shape, or form. And so that's kind of a nitpick I have with books. It's kind of like an irritating thing I find with novels that get re-released or new editions come out, and they come out with a cover that is inferior to what originally was on the book in the first place. And usually they'll replace it with some cheap Photoshop thing, or not even, or in some cases they won't even go that, or they'll even get cheaper than that. Like in the case of the cover for the new It book, they'll really get cheap on it, and just, I don't know why they do that. But the only reason I could think that they do that is because if they use that painted cover, they would have to compensate the artist again for reusing that cover, where it would be easier just to cheap out and slap on this cheap cover, and then they don't have to, you know, give anything to the artist. That, I guess that maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, maybe I might be wrong there, but that's just a guess I have. So yeah, that's one thing about picking up books that I kind of look for. I always find, like, usually the original covers that they had that were painted are usually always better than the newer covers that they use when they re-release books that are usually just Photoshop garbage. So that's everything I got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I will see you at the next one. Thank you to all of my subscribers, and thank you for watching this video. And if you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to hit the bell icon for notification when new videos are uploaded.